Welcome, everyone, to the discussions organized by Smart EDU Hub. Today, we're doing a deep dive into an interesting article by Catalin Vrabi called Just Do IT, Spreading the Use of Digital Services. It's pretty clear that information technology, IT, is just, well, transforming everything, right? Especially how we interact with government. We hear about this e-era all the time, things like e-voting, the idea of an e-citizen. But, the article asks this really key question. If digital services offer so many benefits, why aren't they more universally adopted? And it seems to really zero in on one major challenge: trust. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. What exactly are these digital services the article is talking about?
Yeah, it's a good place to start because they've really evolved. It's not just about, us clicking around on a website anymore. Now we're talking about software applications from totally different places, different companies, even interacting directly with each other, machine to machine.
Okay. So less human computer, more computer computer sometimes.
Exactly. Creating these interconnected digital systems is a fundamental shift. The sources define them pretty clearly. The UDDI consortium calls them self-contained modular business applications with open interfaces. And the W3C basically says they're software identified by a web address, a URI.
Got it. So with that in mind, this popular idea of a one-stop shop government portal seems like the obvious solution, doesn't it? Everything in one spot.
It sounds logical on the surface, yeah. But the article really pushes back on that government-centric model. It raises some pretty big issues.
Like what?
Well, first, it kind of assumes we citizens always think government first, then the service I need.
What?
But often we're just looking for a specific thing, right? And not necessarily thinking about which agency runs it.
True. I don't usually think Department of Transport. I think renew my license.
Precisely. And second, this model often assumes everyone needs access to everything, leading to these, one-size-fits-all interfaces that can be super clunky or hard to navigate.
Okay, yeah. I can picture that. Designing for the bureaucracy, not the user experience.
Exactly. And third, the comparison of government to just one business, it doesn't really hold up. It's much more like a huge conglomerate, with vastly different services and different user needs.
Right, diverse needs.
And finally, it's just inefficient, isn't it? Making people come to special government websites when they spend most of their online time elsewhere, social media, news sites, whatever. But underlying all of this, maybe the biggest hurdle, especially when things feel unstable, is just a basic lack of trust in these e-government platforms.
Right, the trust issue again. So why is that so critical? Why does the article put such emphasis on it?
Well, think about it. Without trust, people are just hesitant, aren't they, to do transactions online. There's that feeling of anonymity, maybe a lack of control over your information, and the potential for things to go wrong or be misused. Opportunism, the article calls it. It states pretty clearly that this lack of trust is a major reason why some electronic platforms just fail.
Wow, okay. That's significant. So what can governments actually do to build that trust and keep it?
The article points to three really key things, and they're all connected. First is personal privacy. Governments need to have really clear, easy-to-find privacy policies, explaining, what data they collect, why they need it, how it's going to be used. Plain language.
Okay, transparency.
Yes. And being careful with things like persistent cookies on their sites. If they use them, they need clear notice and safeguards.
Makes sense. What's the second thing?
Second is confidentiality. This is more about controlling who gets to see your personal data, especially if different government agencies are sharing information. You need strong laws, clear policies about that data sharing, plus, obviously, robust security measures.
Right, so rules about sharing data internally. And the third?
And third is security itself. Basically, the technical and procedural safeguards against anyone unauthorized getting access, seeing things they shouldn't, or misusing the data. So think passwords, access controls, encryption. The article mentions public key infrastructure, PKI, for really sensitive stuff, and just clear rules for how staff handle information.
Okay. Privacy, confidentiality, security. They all sound crucial.
Absolutely. And the article stresses that a breach in any of those areas can really damage trust and make people hesitant to participate.
So focusing on building trust through these three areas, is that the whole story? Is trust enough to guarantee success for e-government?
It's essential, definitely. But no, the article is clear that trust alone isn't enough. It's necessary but not sufficient, you could say.
Okay. So what else gets in the way?
Well, it mentions other barriers that the European Commission also identified, things like failures in leadership, lack of funding, the digital divide, where some people just don't have the access or skills.
Right. Inequality in access.
Yeah. And also poor coordination between different agencies, organizations being too rigid, that sort of bureaucratic mindset, and sometimes just plain poor technical design making the services hard to use.
So it's a much bigger picture then. Trust is foundational, but you also need leadership, resources, good design, coordination.
Exactly. It's all interconnected. Digital services have huge potential, but making them work widely means tackling all these challenges, with trust being perhaps the most critical starting point.
That really puts it into perspective. So thinking about this from the listener's point of view, how can you as an individual play a part in building a more trustworthy digital world? Maybe as a user demanding better safeguards, or even as someone who might help build these systems in the future, something to consider.
That's a great point, and it really is an ongoing effort, isn't it? Keeping IT systems secure, building and maintaining that public confidence. It's not something you do once. It needs constant attention, constant improvement as technology and threats evolve.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for helping us unpack all of that today, and thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this discussion valuable, please do like and subscribe to the Smart EDU Hub channel. That way, you'll be the first to know when our new deep dives are released. See you next time.